out here this morning and record the sunrise, or see the sunrise, because I've been to the West Coast and seen the sun set directly over the ocean. I've been on the Gulf Coast in Galveston here in Texas, or there in Texas, and seen the sun rise more kind of off to the side. But I've never seen the sun rise directly up out of the ocean, and I really wanted to see that this morning, but of course I overslept. I still thought I would come out here one last time, hang out a little bit. Oh, there's a giant like stork over there. Or is that an egret? I think that dude has a pet bird. He's just chilling with him. So my flight was delayed by a few hours, so I'm at a coffee shop drinking the coffee and doing the work. But it could be a lot worse. There's some people whose flights were totally canceled. Keep running the belt. That thing's over.
Sorry.
Next stop gate 3259. Please look back. Visit us again very soon. This is Orlando.
My flight was canceled, so I just got a hotel room. I'm just glad that they let me get all the way through security and go through all that before they decided to cancel my flight. That was wonderful. I love how this says ground transportation going up and going down. Yeah, so my flight was canceled. I booked a hotel room, and now I'm waiting for the shuttle to get here. I was hoping to get home tonight. It had been delayed a couple of hours, like 3 different times. Tim's flight got canceled, but mine, it looked like it was still on. So I get to the hotel, or I get to the airport, and go through security, and like the second I sit down, I get the notification on my phone, it's been canceled. I'm just like, dude. So now I'm flying out tomorrow, hopefully, and I guess silver lining, I'll get to watch Game of Thrones tonight. How do you have a desk to do work and not have a power outlet anywhere? No place to plug in your computer. Nothing. Nada. How? Well, today did not work out the way I wanted. I was really looking forward to getting home, to be honest. You know, I think every trip that you go on, every vacation, whether it's work-related or fun, and this was a little bit of both, eventually you get to the point where it's like, all right, I'm kind of ready to go back and sleep in my bed and get back to normalcy. And I was there probably about 2 days ago. I mean, Yuri's Night was fun. And just to kind of break down Yuri's Night, because I never really got a chance to talk about it, this last week was the first time that I ever really felt, I don't want to use the word like a celebrity. I don't want to say I felt like a celebrity, but it's the first time that I ever felt the weight of the audience that my channel has grown, if that makes sense. Weight is not even the right word. It's just, I look at the numbers on YouTube, and I've gotten kind of used to seeing 100,000 views on this video and 400,000 plus subscribers and stuff like that, and they're just numbers. And it's kind of hard sometimes to remember that that's actual human beings that are watching this, because I don't get recognized on the street. I don't actually see the people who watch my channel. They're just kind of numbers, and I get the comments and stuff, and I've gotten to where I've gotten to know some of the people, especially more the Patreon supporters, just through the different avenues online. But where I'm going with this is that I actually kind of felt a little bit like a celebrity at Yuri's Night. Not nearly as much as Tim. I maybe got like 75% of the attention that Tim did. That's fine. That's totally his world, and he's been there before. He was swamped. He literally couldn't walk 5 feet without somebody coming up and approaching him. And at the end of the night, we actually kind of snuck out the back. I think I may have gotten a little bit of that on camera, but everybody was kind of going out the front door, and Tim was like, "Come on, let's go out this way. I know this back way." I'm really thankful for everybody that came up and talked to me, and I'm really thankful that I'm in a position now that if somebody comes up and I can have a conversation with them, that's like a big deal for someone. I don't take myself seriously at all. So when people come up and talk to me, and especially if they're like super excited, there is that part in my head that's just like, oh my God, what, seriously, for this? But for whatever reason, people who get excited to see me, who get really into my channel and stuff, it's not really for me to dissect. If somebody gets something out of it and wants to tell me how much they appreciate what I do, it means a lot to me that they do that, and I just feel very lucky that by simply having a conversation with them, it can give them something that it would make their day. It's and it's also nice for me. It's really great for me to like put a face to some of the people that maybe I'd seen online who are Patreon supporters, or just put a face to people who I had no idea existed, and I can talk to them about the topics that I discuss on my channel, get their feedback. That's great. I get new ideas for stuff. And let's face it, we're all kind of on the same wavelength. We all have similar interests, and that's always just a fun conversation when you're talking to somebody like that. Some people are better at just sort of coming up and having a normal conversation than others. Some people would come up to me and be kind of nervous and anxious and didn't really know what to say, and so that's always kind of weird. I would just try to like draw them out and be like, hey, let's so where are you from? What are you into? And what are you doing? One more thing I just wanted to throw out that I was thinking about, and this is going to run a little longer than I meant to, but I met several people who had a similar story, and I'm going to use one of them specifically, but I want to make sure that like this represents several people. Several different stories that I heard were very similar to this. A guy came up to me, his name was Richard. Steven, sorry, his name was Steven. And he came up and shook hands, and he said he liked the channel and all that, and I was like, that's really nice, cool, thank you. He was from Georgia, had a real thick southern accent, and we get started talking, and he, I was like, so did you see the launch? He said, yeah. He said it actually came out for the first Falcon Heavy launch a year ago. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, and he was like, yeah, I won't tell you the whole story. Basically, his story was that he was in the service, I think military, I don't know which branch, but anyway, he served in Iraq. He said he had started college, back in the day, wound up in the service, did his tour, came back, didn't really know what to do. 10 years pass, and then he came out to see the Falcon Heavy launch, and he said it inspired him to want to go into aerospace engineering. He said he saw the Falcon Heavy launch and was like, I want to do that. And he went back to school. He's in school right now to get an aerospace engineering degree, and he wants to work for one of these companies, Rocket Lab, Blue Origin, SpaceX, any of these guys. Like, he wants to do that. And this kind of goes back a little bit to the thoughts that I had after watching the launch the other day. I think that right there might be the single most important thing about what SpaceX and Blue Origin, all these guys, and NASA are doing, is it's inspiring the next generation. It's inspiring new people who might not have ever really thought that much about working in that field and moving society and humanity in that direction to get involved and better themselves and be a part of it. I wish I had, just me walking around NASA, it was really inspiring, as you probably saw. I don't have the skill set to really be like an engineer. I'm not selling myself short. I know what I am. No way I could do that kind of thing. The fact that this guy was just like, I'm gonna go learn aerospace engineering, I'm like, that's not something I would do. That's just way up here for me. Sorry. I like to think that by doing this channel, I'm kind of playing my part in that way. I'm a sarcastic ass, and I make jokes, and I'm a little bit of a nerd, so this is my contribution, right? Like, that's kind of how I see it, and I hope that that is, I'm not deluding myself, and that is what I am contributing to the world. But when people see something like the Falcon Heavy and they immediately say, I'm going to be a part of that, and they go out and they learn about it and they become a part of it, that's how we move society forward. That's how we make the future better. And that, to me, is the single most important element of this whole thing. I don't know that I had that opinion before. Like, it was probably in the equation somewhere, but it wasn't at the top. Now I think that might be the top. I think that might be like one of the top things that these programs and this whole thing is doing. Just a thought. I wanted to put it out there, and this went longer than I meant for it to. But anyway, I'm going to cut some stuff together. Hopefully I will get back on the road tomorrow and get back home. I'll document what I can. I don't know how much I'm going to continue doing this when I get back home. You guys have really responded to it well, and a lot of people came up to me at Yuri's night saying how much they like these vlogs. And I'm glad, and I've enjoyed doing them. I just don't know that my normal daily life is interesting enough to document in this way. Obviously, this is extenuating circumstances, and I'm traveling, and I'm seeing really cool stuff. It's easy to make really cool stuff look really cool, it turns out. Me hanging around at home with my dogs drinking coffee is not the most exciting thing. But anyway, I'll see what I can do. With that, I'm going to put that thing together, and I'm going to write a little bit and try to get to bed before 3 in the morning. And I hope you guys are all doing well. Peace out.